Some actions have irrefutable consequences. Just over 4 years ago, Joe Biden pushed into his presidency, also known as Barack Obama's third term, with the first of several tragic and ruinous decisions. In August of 2021, Joe and his team of useless idiots, also known as his administration, carried out the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan. It was sheer chaos. It was mayhem, watched in real time by the entire world. They left behind equipment, weapons, $80 billion worth of equipment and weapons, by the way. They left innocent allies there. Those who helped us for so many years were left behind to be murdered by a vengeful Taliban. 13 service members were killed because of that horrific decision that Joe Biden made. Biden looked at his watch in their honor in the dignified transfer. The Biden administration pretended that the Taliban were finally our trusted allies, and Afghan nationals were brought into this country unvetted. 2 National Guard members doing their jobs to protect Americans last week on Wednesday. One of them was shot fatally. Actions have irrefutable consequences. There are just far too many living in our country right here on our soil who wish to do us harm, who want us dead, and they were hand-delivered to us by Joe Biden. Actions have irrefutable consequences, and one of the most disastrous presidencies in our nation's history will continue to have ripple effects for many, many years, even decades. Democrats still have no concept of the fact that the internet is a thing and it holds videos in perpetuity. And those videos are available to all of us in perpetuity. Jen Psaki was asked about bringing in Afghan refugees being a potential security risk, and she lied, as always, on behalf of her corrupt bosses.
There are, of course, concerns among lawmakers, experts who've tracked this. They're saying previous arrivals of large numbers of refugees from different parts of the world, inevitably there may be a handful, small handful, who are eventually deemed a security risk of some kind. What reassurances can you make about the screening process and the attempts to make sure that somebody like that doesn't make his or her way here?
I can absolutely assure you that no one is coming into the United States of America who has not been through a thorough screening and background check process.
Keeping America secure also foreign to them. All they do is defend the impossible. What you see is not what you actually see. That's their mantra.
The Afghans who were repatriated to the United States were our allies and our compatriots in Afghanistan. They are some of the most vetted individuals in the country.
Well, except that all of that, it only just takes one, right? It just takes one. And we know it's more than one on our soil, full of hate and waiting to attack again. But they don't care about protecting Americans, do they? No, they want the votes. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris armed the Taliban to the brim. And then they continue to send them hundreds of millions of tax dollars.
American taxpayer money, your tax dollars, are funding the Taliban right now. And this has been going on since September 2021. On a weekly basis, the United States, the current administration, Mr. Joe Biden, has been sending $40 million, not from his own checking account, Americans' tax dollars. He's sending them $40 million cash every week.
Joe Biden armed the Taliban and then funded them as they went right back to oppressing women and children and murdering Americans. And then when the 13 service members came home in caskets, Joe Biden, what did he do? He checked his watch, as if the guy can even tell anymore what time it was or what day it was, for that matter. What a disgrace these people are, Democrats. Joe Obama. And then they mocked America by flaunting our weapons, showing off all of the military equipment in a parade last year commemorating the anniversary of when Joe Biden also disgraced America. To this day, not one member of the Biden administration from hell has been held accountable for what happened, for that withdrawal that still haunts us to this very day. On August 29th, 2021, just 2 weeks after that withdrawal, a drone strike mistakenly targeted and killed civilians. So any accountability for that? Johnny Kirby?
How does it strike you that no one is held accountable? Because I know how it strikes a lot of people around the world, that you can get away with murder and nobody's punished for it.
I do understand that. We appreciate that not everybody's going to support this decision. What I can tell you is we looked at this thing very, very comprehensively. And again, we acknowledge that there were procedural breakdowns. Processes were not executed the way they should have been. But it doesn't necessarily indicate that an individual or individuals have to be held to account for that.
That's a lot of words. That's a lot of words for we screwed up. actions, consequences, and zero accountability. He didn't just put the Taliban back in charge. It didn't just breed more terrorism and more hate to America. It didn't just cost the lives of 13 service members. It also broke the hearts and souls of every veteran who served there.
But I'll tell you, as somebody who served in Afghanistan and watched that unfold, I mean, I was horrified in a lot of ways. You know, you think about how much time and blood and treasure and American life that was lost in Afghanistan over 20 years. We bled the ground red in Afghanistan, and I watched my men do extraordinary things in support of a grateful nation and in support of the mission there. And to watch Afghanistan be surrendered in the way that it was extremely difficult.
Former Army Captain Sean Parnell and current Assistant Secretary Pete Hegseth. Some actions have irrefutable consequences. We've seen them, and we're continuing to see them now. And we sit and we wait for someone, anyone, to be held accountable for those consequences. I'm just going to tell you one more time. When you let tens of thousands of unvetted foreigners into this country, we'll give you the example of Somalia, right? We let how many thousands got in, walked in, came in through the southern border. They don't assimilate here. They don't want to be part of the fabric of America. They want to live the way they live in their rogue nations and their rogue countries, like Somalia or Afghanistan. So when an Afghan national ends up shooting 2 military members on the day before Thanksgiving, we act surprised, but we shouldn't be, because expect a lot more of it unless we fix a broken system.